Ever feel like you've got a secret assistant living inside your head? You know, one whose only job is to agree with you, constantly whispering, "Yep, you're right about that," no matter what you think. Well, it turns out you kind of do. It's a weird feeling, isn't it? The second you form an opinion, suddenly, boom! Everywhere you look, the news, your social media feed, conversations, you see proof that you were right all along. It's almost like the universe is conspiring to tell you how smart you are. But what if that conspiracy is actually coming from inside your own brain? Okay, so let's put a name to this. It's called confirmation bias, and it's one of the most powerful and common shortcuts our brains take. This isn't really about being stubborn. It's more like a deep-seated mental habit to automatically look for stuff that backs up what we already believe while kind of ignoring or, downplaying anything that challenges. Here's the best way to picture it. Imagine all of your beliefs are pinned up on a giant bulletin board inside your mind. As you go through life, you're collecting these little bits of information. Think of them as sticky notes of evidence. While confirmation bias is that subconscious habit of only picking up and pinning the sticky notes that match what's already on your board, while the ones that clash, those get tossed right in the trash. That's why some people call it an internal yes man. It's perfect, right? This bias doesn't argue with you. It doesn't offer a fresh perspective. It just nods along, making you feel super confident and secure in the little world you've built on that bulletin board. So, here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to look at the 3 biased filters our brain uses to do this. Then, we'll see how our beliefs can actually turn into fortresses. After that, we'll see where this bias pops up in your own life. And we'll wrap up with one last question to chew on. All right, first up, the 3 biased filters. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of how our brain decides which of those informational sticky notes actually make it onto our belief bulletin board. It really all comes down to this powerful 3-step process. So here they are, the big 3. First, there's biased search, which is us actively hunting for proof that we're right. Second, you've got biased interpretation, where we take fuzzy, ambiguous evidence and kind of bend it to fit our beliefs. And third, there's biased recall, which is when we selectively remember only the facts that confirm the story we're already telling ourselves. Now check out this study. It illustrates that first filter, biased search, perfectly. Researchers had people review info on 2 parents. Parent B was complex. They had some really strong positive traits, but also some really strong negative ones. Now, when people were asked who should get custody, they searched for positive reasons and chose parent B. But, and here's the wild part, when a different group was asked who should be denied custody, they searched for negative reasons and also chose parent B. Same data, totally different search, same result.
So that's biased search. And biased interpretation, that second filter, is pretty straightforward. It's how we twist things to fit our story. But that third filter, biased recall, that's all about which memories we even bother to access. And this next study is just a fantastic example of that.
In this one, everybody read the exact same profile of a woman who had a mix of introverted and extroverted traits. But one group was told they were assessing her for a librarian job. The other group, a real estate agent job. And what happened? Well, after reading it, the librarian group mostly remembered her introverted traits, while the real estate group remembered her extroverted ones. Their brains literally cherry-picked which sticky notes to remember to fit the story they were given beforehand. So, what happens when we spend our entire lives carefully curating this bulletin board with only one-sided proof? Well, our beliefs stop being these flexible, evolving ideas, and they start turning into these impenetrable fortresses. 2 really big things start to happen. The first is called attitude polarization. This is when 2 people with opposite views can stare at the exact same piece of evidence and both walk away even more sure that they're right. It's wild. The second is belief perseverance, and that's our stubborn tendency to cling to a belief, to keep that sticky note right there on the board, even after the evidence it was based on gets completely debunked. And the famous Stanford death penalty study is the absolute poster child for attitude polarization. Researchers took people who were for and against the death penalty and gave them 2 studies, one that proved it worked as a deterrent and one that proved it didn't. And you can probably guess what happened. Each side thought the study confirming their view was brilliant and called the other one deeply flawed. The result? Everybody ended up more dug into their original position. The same exact information actually drove them further apart. So look, this isn't just some quirky thing that happens in psychology labs. Confirmation bias is out there in the real world, actively shaping our lives every single day. And a lot of the time, we don't even see it happening.
I mean, this bias has a massive impact across so many critical areas of our lives. We're talking about everything from the echo chambers on social media to our political divides, the way we invest our money, and even how doctors make a diagnosis. That internal yes man is always on the job.
So why does this matter so much? Well, because your social media feed can become a filter bubble that just hardens your views. An investor who ignores the warning signs could lose everything. A doctor who gets tunnel vision on one diagnosis might miss what's really going on. And in policing, this bias could literally be the difference between justice and a wrongful conviction. The stakes are incredibly high.
So we've seen how this all works, right? We build this bulletin board of what we believe to be true, and then our brains just work tirelessly to find more sticky notes that match, creating this reality that just keeps reinforcing itself.
So I think the crucial point here, the big takeaway, is this. We aren't neutral observers just passively watching the world go by. No way. We are active architects of our own reality. And the number one tool we use to build it is confirmation. Our minds are designed not just to see reality, but to constantly reaffirm our version of it.
And that leads to one last, really fascinating thought. We've spent all this time talking about the bulletin board of beliefs we have about the world out there, but what about the most important bulletin board of all? The one that holds all the sticky notes about who we are. If this bias shapes how we see literally everything else, how do you think it might be shaping how we see ourselves?